Hello everyone. My name is Colton Brown, and the endangered species that I will be covering today is the Florida panther. So here's a picture of the Florida panther. It's a part of the cat family, the feline family, and currently the species is mostly found in Florida. The current status, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, of the Florida panther is the species is endangered, and about 50 years ago it was even on the brink of extinction. Um, Reports from the Fish and Wildlife Service say that in the 1970s and 80s, the population of the Florida panther within the United States is around 24 cats in total. Since then, we have seen some progression, and there are around 200 Florida panthers within the United States in Florida right now. You can see their current range is down here in the left photo. It's really in that southwestern tip of Florida that many Florida panthers still remain. Advocates for continued listing of the Florida panther or delisting of the Florida panther. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission are both huge advocates for keeping the Florida panther listed on the endangered species list in order to continue to preserve the species for future generations and keep this species away from extinction. There aren't a lot of advocates for delisting the Florida panther because there's so few of the species remaining, and they aren't really big on human impact. They tend to stay away from people, and many people aren't trying to delist the Florida panther for any reason. Next, I'd like to get into their habitat and their range in Florida. So the habitats for Florida panther mostly consist of freshwater swamps or hardwood forests. This can include deciduous and coniferous trees. They're found in both. Um, since European migration and the establishment of people in the southern United States, the population has dwindled a lot. So this is going back to the 1700s when they're considered pests because they're killing livestock and stuff like this. The population has just continued to dwindle since human presence has increased in the United States. In the bottom left here, you can see their historic range of the Florida panther when we first became present compared to the current breeding range of the Florida panther. It's very small and minimal compared to the 5 states that were once included in the range of the panther. So next I'd like to get into just the future of the species in general. This is a species that's going to be impacted a lot from climate change as climate change continues to grow more evident in these current years. One big impact is going to be the sea level rise. We have these glaciers and these ice caps that are slowly melting into the sea and raising the sea level. And Florida is going to be one of the first states in the United States to be really impacted by the sea level increase. And with sea level increasing, that's going to lead to less prey available for the Florida panther, less habitat available for the Florida panther when there's not a lot of habitat available for it right now. A lot of the Florida panthers reside in the Everglade National Forest, National Park that's there. I do believe that federal and state agencies are going to need to continue to monitor and protect the small population of the Florida panther that remains in Florida. This isn't something that over the next 5 to 10 years agencies can kind of let off of. If anything, they need to continue and persist more in being able to preserve this species and protect it from extinction. The two main agencies that are monitoring the Florida panther are the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which is a federal agency, and then the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, which is the state agency, basically. Here are my sources. Thank you for listening.